Alright, I'm back, folks. Now, in terms of the winds in the northeast, right along the coastal parts of the northeast, some strong, somewhat moderate sea breeze. Some places like the Jersey Shore and the South Shore of Long Island, winds are blowing on shore, moving up to no more than 30 miles an hour, plus from Cape Cod all the way to central Maine. But then as you move inland, winds, they're light though, moving at up to 15 miles per hour, maybe some cases up to 20. Though they're moving generally to the east, combining as it collides with onshore winds from the ocean. Now we move on to talk about the temperatures in New England. They are in the low 60s to mid 70s. Then we go down to Pennsylvania, New York, upstate New York for that matter. Temperatures there range from the upper 60s to the low 80s. The greater New York City area, you have temperatures that are in the 70s, going down along I-95 in places like Delaware, Maryland, D.C., and Virginia. Temperatures there, they are in the 70s to low 80s. West Virginia, temperatures there are in the 70s to low 80s. Let's zoom out and talk about the South. Well, winds are somewhat light from Tennessee all the way to Arkansas, with winds moving in a clockwise fashion, though they're blowing up to 20 miles an hour, starting from Tennessee, working its way through Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, and then moving back to Arkansas, maybe a little bit in Oklahoma and Texas. But outside of those winds, along the Carolina coast, mostly Georgia, and northern Florida, you have winds coming from the northeast, blowing up to 20 miles per hour, but on the coastal side up to 30 miles an hour, particularly along the Outer Banks of North Carolina, probably blowing a little past that, around 35 miles an hour. In southern Florida, you have winds that are becoming lighter, but moving to the southeast at up to 20 miles an hour. In Texas and Oklahoma, wherever there weren't any light winds, they're blowing from the Gulf, yet they're blowing up to 30 miles an hour throughout much of Texas and Oklahoma. And they are moving to the north. Now let's talk about temperatures. So let's get started with the Carolina. Let me see. Talk about Carolinas and Georgia, where temperatures they're in the mid 70s to mid 80s. In Tennessee, temperatures are in the mid 80s to low 90s. Alabama, Mississippi, temperatures they're in the mid 80s to mid 90s. And then you work your way to Arkansas and Louisiana, where temperatures in Arkansas and Louisiana, they're in the upper 80s to mid 90s. Sorry about that. Almost went the wrong way. In Florida, you have temperatures they're in the mid 70s to mid upper 80s. Then we go to Texas and Oklahoma. In Oklahoma, temperatures range from 77 in Boise City to 89 in Bartlesville. In Texas, temperatures there in the panhandle of Texas, western parts of Texas, and that includes the panhandle of Texas. Temperatures range from the mid 70s to low 90s. Southern Texas and the center part of Texas, temperatures there are in the mid 80s to mid 90s. Eastern and northeast Texas, temperatures are in the upper 80s to mid 90s. Let's go to the Midwest. Let's take a look. Well, we do have in the Ohio Valley lighter winds there, but they're blowing from the southwest, shifting to the northwest. But in Michigan, they're a little light and variable, though, as winds make their way towards the north. But in the upper peninsula of Michigan, they're a little light, though. But winds are coming from Canada, though, with the light breeze. In the Great Plains, you have winds. Generally, they're blowing to the north at up to 30 miles an hour there. Yet they're shifting to the west once it's in North Dakota, but South Dakota, you do have a surface low where you have counterclockwise flow. But in much of South Dakota, you have very light and somewhat variable winds, plus northwestern Nebraska and southwestern North Dakota. All right, now let's take a look at the Ohio Valley. Let's take a look at the temperatures there. They are, okay, temperatures in Kentucky, they're in the 80s. Ohio, low 70s to mid 80s to low 80s. Indiana and Illinois, temperatures there, they're in the mid 70s to mid, hold on. Yeah, Indiana, temperatures there, they're in the mid 70s to upper 80s. Illinois, temperatures range from 77 in Chicago to 93 in Springfield. I mean, that does give an indication that there's a warm front that's in play, warming up the region. I mean, you probably can tell based on what you saw on Radar Omega, but actually it's a stationary front, folks. My mistake. I checked back. Now we move on to the Great Lakes region, where you have Michigan and Wisconsin. Temperatures there, they're in the mid 60s to low 80s. And then we move on to Minnesota and the Dakotas, where temperatures in Minnesota, they're in the mid 60s to low 80s. The Dakotas, temperatures there, they range from the mid 60s to the mid 80s. Well, let's go a little deeper. Temperatures range from 66 in... hold on. They range from 66 in Estevan and Leeds, 66 to 77 in Grand Forks. South Dakota, temperatures range from 75 in Pierre to 88 in Sioux Falls. And we work our way down the Missouri River Valley. Temperatures in Iowa, they're in the mid 80s to mid 90s. Missouri, temperatures they're in the low 80s to mid 90s. Kansas, temperatures are in the 80s to mid 90s. Nebraska, they range from 77 in Valentine to 91 in Omaha and Sioux City. Now let's move west, where you do have very light and variable winds throughout the northern Rockies, but southern Idaho, you have winds coming from the west blowing up to 25 miles an hour, and that plus the same story in central and eastern Wyoming. And we move on to the Great Basin. Much of the Great Basin, somewhat light and variable winds, but mostly they're blowing to the east. But in southern eastern Colorado, winds are moving to at first in the southern part of the state, they're moving to the northeast. The eastern part, they're moving to the north at up to 30 miles an hour there. In the desert southwest, you have winds that are virtually moving to the northeast at up to 20 to 30 miles an hour there in some places. California, somewhat light and variable winds, but virtually they're moving inland, and that especially includes the coastal parts of California, even though the winds are blowing parallel down the coast towards the south, blowing up to 30 to 40 miles an hour offshore, but just a little, which means that in some parts of California they're blowing up to 30 miles an hour. As we work our way towards the Pacific Northwest, there are some onshore winds blowing up to 20 miles an hour, maybe close to 30. But as you move inland, those winds are moving inland to the east, but becoming a little light, though. On the eastern... on the eastern half of Washington State, winds are moving to the north at up to 25 miles an hour. All right. Let's start off with Montana, where temperatures there, they're in the 70s. In Idaho, in the northern half of the state, temperatures are in the 60s. Southern half, 70s. Wyoming, temperatures range from the low 60s to mid 70s. Then we go down towards the Great Basin and Colorado. Temperatures in Colorado, they range from the low 60s to low 70s. Utah, temperatures range from 64 in Vernal to 88 in St. George. In Nevada, much of the state, temperatures they're in the mid 60s to mid 70s, but as you go down towards the southern tip of the state, they're in the 80s to mid 90s. Then to the desert southwest, temperatures in New Mexico, they range from 66 in Espanola to 82 in Carlsbad. In the northern half of Arizona, temperatures range from 64 in Alpine to 84 in Kingman. In the southern half, temperatures are in the mid 80s to upper 90s. Yeah, I'm gonna need a drink, folks. Give me a moment. Hello, Wild Lycaon. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good day. Hoping that, or do you hope that you have better days ahead? Although this is the weather part of the stream, but we'll get to Minecraft once we get to 7 o'clock. I mean, right now it is 6:27 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We got plenty of time. I mean, once we get to Minecraft, we'll get to finishing downtown and then the surrounding areas. Although right now I need a sip because for some reason, like my throat feels dry. Sorry about that. Alright, let's take a look at the temperatures. So 64 in Eureka. Temperatures in the Bay Area, they're in the 70s to low 80s. 82 in LA. 71 in San Diego. 98 in Indio. Then you have the Central Valley, California. Temperatures range from the low 80s to low 90s. Then in the Pacific Northwest, you have temperatures in Oregon. They are in the 70s. Washington State, temperatures range from 71 in Seattle to 86 in Yakima. All right, so now let's talk about gusts. Where the gusts, strong gusts, are from the Outer Banks, North Carolina, all the way down to the Space Coast, where the blowing gusts are up to 30 to 50 miles an hour in some places. And we work our way towards the southern plains and the southwestern part of the Great Plains, I should say, as well, towards Kansas. Winds are, gusty winds are up to 30 to 40 miles an hour, maybe close to 50. And we work our way, gusts up to 30 miles an hour in the northern plains. Few parts, just 30 to 40 miles an hour of gusts throughout the parts of the desert southwest and parts of Colorado. Been a great day, hotter and sunnier than yesterday, that's for sure. Oh, really? Oh, where are you at? Like, which city? Oh, well, the Lycaon, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Yeah, so, what part of the world you're living in right now? Like, if, yeah, because I mean, like, because the weather, according to what you said, it's hotter and sunnier than yesterday. Let's see what we got. Gusts. It's a little bit gust. Just located at Olympic National Park, just up to 30 miles an hour there. Let's see what we got for humidity. Thunder in Ontario, Canada. Ah! Thunder Bay. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just, I see, so, you've, dealt with, some, weather, right? So how was it yesterday? How was your weather yesterday?